Hi, this is Rudy Jones of PalmettoStateBaseball.com. Welcome to the Palmetto State Baseball Podcast for March 11th, 2024. This is my sixth podcast of the 2024 college baseball season. It's part of my coverage of college baseball in South Carolina. I offer schedules, scores, rankings, and other news about all 33 college baseball teams in the state at PalmettoStateBaseball.com. Every day there's a game. I pick a player of the day from a state school, and this year I'm picking a game of the day when I find one that I think is worthy of extra attention. I provide updates on X, formerly Twitter, at the handle of Palmetto Base. Drop me an email at rudyjones@PalmettoStateBaseball.com or send me a message on X. Comment on any of my posts on PalmettoStateBaseball.com. Listener interaction helps me know if I'm doing this for anyone other than myself. I post schedules daily at PalmettoStateBaseball.com. There's also a state calendar of games at the bottom of the page. There are results available back there for several seasons if you're willing to scroll back through the calendar. If you see me at a game, please come say hi. I'll probably be wearing a blue cap with the Palmetto Tree State emblem on it and the words PalmettoStateBaseball.com embroidered on the back. If you like this podcast and my other coverage of college baseball in South Carolina, please become a follower and invite others to listen to and follow the podcast too, as well as tell them about PalmettoStateBaseball.com. When not thinking about college baseball, please consider joining me at Reedy River Baptist Church on US 25 between Travelers Rest and the Furman University Golf Course in Granville County. Worship time is at 10:30 on Sunday mornings. I'll plug my church instead of having a sponsor. Last week I tried a different method for updating game scores. Instead of a lot of tweets and retweets on X, I created a scoreboard chart that I update periodically and then send a link out via X and on Facebook. So far I think it means less work for me, which I like. Check out the live scoreboard at Palmetto State Baseball for each day and see if it makes sense, makes staying up to date with the games easier for you or not. It may be easier than a bunch of tweets. It may be harder. Let me know if you love it or hate it. I've posted a poll at PalmettoStateBaseball.com, and you can just voice your opinion on that. Before looking back at team results for last week, a couple of individuals reached milestones. USC Upstate sent out a note that Spartans win over Ryder on Friday in the opener of that series with the 500th win of Coach Mike McGuire's collegiate career. The former USC player previously coached at Lander, Lewisburg Junior College, where he had 52 wins, and Morehead State. He had 90 wins at Lander, and he's got a .360, .259, and 1 record on the Division I level. In another part of Spartanburg, Wofford's Jack Renwick became that school's all-time stolen bases leader when he picked up number 86 in Sunday's bombardment of Lafayette. Brett Rodriguez, who played from 2017 to 2020, was the previous top base thief for the Terriers. Now a look at last week. Every time we have rainy weather, like we did last week, I could kick myself for loving baseball so much that I created a website to cover a sport where there are rainouts. It just creates a lot of headaches, especially when teams don't announce their makeup dates. Several midweek games were washed out, lots of weekend series games were switched to another day, or the starting time was moved. Erskine even played one of its home games at Southern Wesleyan, but the overall damage from the rain for the weekend was minimal. Only 3 weekend games were canceled. Winthrop's Saturday game with Appalachian State, Bob Jones' series finale at Payne, and 1 game of College of Charleston's scheduled Saturday doubleheader with Penn. I don't think that was originally scheduled to be a DH, but I believe the Cougars were trying to pick up a replacement game for a cancellation against Nebraska by rain the previous weekend. Speaking of cancellations, weather's played havoc with NJCAA Region 10 teams during league play in the past, but they didn't get a series washed out in the first week of this season. Coach Tim Wallace told me last week that the region is allowing more flexibility for getting series played. Teams now have a 4-day window, Friday through Monday, to get in the 2 region doubleheaders. In the past, no Monday makeups were allowed, so some teams would get rained out on Sunday and not have a chance to make it up, and they wind up playing 4, 6, or 8 games, fewer than other teams. All 3 region series continued into Monday this week, and all the region teams got in their 4 games, which was good. Florence Darlington Tech, Gaston College, and Spartanburg Methodist all went 4-0 at home to share the region lead after a week. Elsewhere on the field, Coastal Carolina won 5 times to extend its winning streak to 13. The Chanticleers are 14-2 after a 1-2 start that included losses to a ranked Duke team and an Indiana team that was ranked at the time as well. Coastal has hit 44 home runs in 16 games and is averaging more than 11 runs per game. Clemson got 4 wins to push its winning streak to 9. Coach Eric Bakich's team fell behind early in all 3 games of the UNC Greensboro series, but rallied each time. The Tigers are 13-1. Including the final weeks of 2023, Clemson has won 30 of its last 33 games. Not too shabby. Wofford has won 6 straight to improve to 12-2. The Terriers have scored 10 runs or more in 11 of their 14 games. Sunday's 27-4 win over Lafayette was Wofford's second time scoring more than 25 runs in a game. The Terriers are averaging 13.8 runs per game this season. South Carolina won all 5 games last week to kind of take a little bit of the disappointment after the Clemson series. Ty Good, who was a standout starter at College of Charleston before he transferred, got his first start with the Gamecocks on Sunday against Longwood. I was kind of surprised he had not started before, but he had been very effective out of the bullpen, not allowing a run in 5 outings. Against Longwood on Sunday, he started out strong, but then he allowed 4 runs, although only 1 was earned, and he left before he could get a win. But the Gamecocks rallied to win, going away 22-6, scoring 11 runs in the bottom of the 6th to put the game on ice. For the 4th time in 2 weekends, 9th inning pitching problems hurt College of Charleston, and that accounts for the Cougars' only 4 losses. On Sunday, Penn scored 3 runs in the 9th to avoid a split. Nebraska was the culprit a week ago, winning the game in the 9th twice, tying in the 9th the other time, and winning it in the 10th. USC Upstate's record last week was 3-2, but 2 of those losses came against a red-hot Coastal Carolina team. Among Division II teams, Mount Olive took the opener of a series against North Greenville in Conference Carolina's play, but the Crusaders won a doubleheader on Sunday to claim the series. Both teams entered that series ranked nationally among Division II teams. Francis Marion pulled off a couple of rallies for a sweep at Shawan. Lander got a series win over Augusta when Chris Manriquez hit a walk-off home run in Game 2 of Sunday's doubleheader to give the Bearcats a win. Senators, I'm an old person. Erskine bounced back from losing its opener to win 2 of 3 against Southern Wesleyan. Limestone lost 3 of 4 last week after a long winning streak, with 2 of its losses coming to conference rival Lincoln Memorial in Gaffney. Claflin got swept by North Georgia and now has a 19-game losing streak. Among NAIA schools, Voorhees had a series at Fort Lauderdale, the top-ranked team in the country in the National Christian College Athletic Association poll. The Tigers took a lead in all 4 games, only to have Fort Lauderdale rally each time and really win going away. Bob Jones got its second win of the season on Friday as Sam Gonzalez drove in 5 runs, and Henry Legnard pitched a complete game. I believe his name is Joshua Legnard. Pitched a complete game against Payne. I named Coastal Carolina as Palmetto State Baseball Team of the Week for March 10th because it was so dominant in what it did. My weekly rankings did not change very much from the previous week either. I still have Clemson, South Carolina, and Coastal as my top 3 teams in NCAA Division I among the state teams, with Wofford and College of Charleston swapping the 4th and 5th spots. I was considering moving Coastal ahead of USC entering Sunday, but regardless of the level of competition, I just didn't think I could move the Gamecocks down after they won a game 22-6. North Greenville, Lander, and Francis Marion remained atop my NCAA Division II rankings, with Coker jumping Limestone into 4th. The rankings for NAI and NCCAA schools remain the same, with Morris and Voorhees at the top, and Florence Darlington Tech, Spartanburg Methodist, and USC Lancaster remain at the top of the junior college rankings for state schools. USC Lancaster was 0-4 in the weekend in a non-regional series, but it was at Georgia Highlands, which moved up 6th in the NJCAA rankings this week. Is it just me, or does it seem like there are a lot more high-scoring games this year? Coastal Carolina, South Carolina, USC Upstate, and Wofford have all scored 20 or more runs in a game. Presbyterian scored 16 runs in 3 straight games to open its season. Some of it I know can be attributed to snowbird teams playing real games for their spring training, and some of it can be laid off on weak opposition. There also seem to be a lot of walks. South Carolina drew 18 walks against Longwood on Sunday and has walked 147 times in 16 games. USC batters have struck out 134 times. It is rare that a team has more walks than strikeouts after more than a handful of games. Sometimes in the past, a pitcher with control problems might have gotten a little help from the on-plate umpire with some borderline pitches in an effort to move the game along. But Derek Scott, USC's radio announcer for baseball, had an interesting point during Sunday's game. He said that with TrackMan and the other data-gathering systems around the game, umpires being graded on their ball strike calls, and they might be reticent to expand the strike zone because it might impact the evaluation they receive from their supervisors. So, on to this week's games. One thing, too, is Russell Triplett at Newberry will be going for his 400th career win this week. One of the top Tuesday games is going to be Wake Forest visit to Coastal Carolina. The Demon Deacons were consensus number one in the nation last week before they lost 2 of 3 against Duke. 3 state rivalries are being renewed on Tuesday. Charleston Southern is at College of Charleston. Presbyterian travels to the Citadel, and Francis Marion is at Newberry. Former Clemson All-American David Miller brings his Manhattan team to Doug Kingsmore Stadium for a Tuesday-Wednesday series against the Tigers. One of Miller's assistants with the Jaspers is Scott Wingo, son of former Clemson two-sport star Bill Wingo and a hero of South Carolina's 2 College World Series championships. South Carolina heads down I-20 to North Augusta to meet Georgia State in SRP Park, that's home of the minor league Augusta Green Jackets. Elsewhere on Tuesday, USC Upstate entertains Tennessee Tech, and Winthrop is up I-77 to play Charlotte. The Manhattan, Clemson, and Tennessee Tech USC Upstate series conclude on Wednesday. Elsewhere on Wednesday, Southern Wesleyan and Limestone play at Fuller Field in downtown Greenville. Newberry is at USC Aiken. Coker is at Mount Olive, and Lincoln Memorial visits North Greenville. Moritz plays his first game in almost 2 weeks, facing Columbia International for a pair at Sumter's Riley Park. On to the weekend. Clemson and South Carolina begin conference plays with openers on the road. 10 ACC teams opened conference play last week, with Clemson and 3 others waiting until this week to begin. The Tigers start their league schedule at Duke, which won 2 of 3 against Wake last week. South Carolina opens SEC play at Ole Miss. The Rebels stumbled to a 2-4 start, but have won 10 of 11 since then. Elsewhere this weekend, James Madison is at Coastal Carolina in a Colonial Athletic Association opener. Coastal. I'm not politically correct. Coastal Athletic Association. USC Upstate is at home against Gardner-Webb. Longwood is at Winthrop, and High Point visits Charleston Southern in Big South Conference play. Wofford and College of Charleston play a non-conference series at Patriots Point, and the Citadel and Presbyterian also have home series. In NCAA Division II, North Greenville's visit to UNC Pembroke is probably the top series in Division II, although state rivals Newberry and Anderson are going to clash as well. Other four-year schools playing at home in the state this weekend include Benedict, Bob Jones, and Voorhees. In Region 10, Spartanburg Methodist is at USC Salkehatchie, USC Sumter is at USC Union, and USC Lancaster plays host to Gaston College. After playing number 6 Georgia Highlands last week, the Lancers get to play host to number 2 Gaston College. Florence Darlington Tech has the Region 10 bye this week, and they don't play a non-region game. By the way, I may not have a extensive weekly notes package today, March 11th, because I've had a busy day and I'm running behind. This is the 6th podcast of the 2024 season. If you like my podcast, please follow and share a link with your baseball friends, too. If you like PalmettoStateBaseball.com's coverage of college baseball in South Carolina, please tell your friends about that. Email me at rudyjones@PalmettoStateBaseball.com. I want your input to help me help mold my coverage of the best level of the greatest sport God ever allowed to be invented. Please vote in my poll about continuing live updates post at PalmettoStateBaseball.com. As a reminder, I'm inviting you to come worship with me at Reedy River Baptist Church, 871 North 25 Bypass between Travelers Rest and the Furman Golf Course in the Greenville area. Worship time is 10:30 on Sunday mornings. I hope you'll find out that we are a friendly church and will want to worship with us regularly. You will be welcome. Thanks again for listening to the March 11th, 2024 episode of the Palmetto State Baseball Podcast. This is Rudy Jones of PalmettoStateBaseball.com saying, it's a beautiful day for baseball. Let's play too.